Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a happy Monday so far and a great start to your weeks. Today we're going to be diving into our daily cryptocurrency market update, and there's a lot to go over as there's a lot going on generally across the board, not just within our markets, but elsewhere that is weighing and having an effect on our markets. We're going to be getting into that. We're going to be listening to some, or I'm going to be reading out some of the comments from the Bank of America. Bank of America sees no crypto winter given user adoption, development activity, and growth. This is something that we've been saying religiously. Now, you guys know, I still don't think this is a bear market. I think the entire cycle, the entire sort of previous cycles that we've been following have now changed. I think the space has evolved and is at a very different place from once it was. And you have to factor all this in, just like we're factoring all these macroeconomic events in. This is why we give these daily cryptocurrency market updates where we look at everything, not just crypto, but the financial landscape, whether that be what the Federal Reserve are doing or what's taking place with Russia, Ukraine, and we kind of comprise everything together because that's what you need to do as investors. Because if you don't do that, you'll be looking at Bitcoin, you'll be looking at crypto, and you'll be going, well, what's happening? And the reason being that you don't know what's happening is because it lies. The answers lie elsewhere. You know, we live in a very domino world. And what I mean by that is we are very leveraged and tethered across the board. And this is something that you, certainly in times like this, when markets are scared, this is something that you absolutely need to understand. And this is not a bear market. It hasn't been confirmed technically. And certainly from an on-chain point of view, it looks 180 degrees different from what we typically see going into a bear market, whether that be long-term hodlers to short-term hodlers or anything of the such. This is just largely a period of risk off, crypto being a risky asset. It's been a weird couple of years, guys. Remember what happened in March 2020? This shaped markets forever, and we're seeing a kind of fallout of that to the back end. That's what happens when you inflate the monetary system. Certainly when you put it towards assets and give it to investors, you see asset inflation, and that's what we've seen, and we're seeing a kind of slowing down of that. Plus, we've got all the turmoil that's taking place across the board. So there's a number of things I want to talk about in this video. We'll be going over the Bank of America's comments. We see the non-zero BTC addresses hitting an all-time high of 40 million. This is the most. We've never had so many Bitcoin wallets or Bitcoin addresses. This suggests that right now, there's never been more people into Bitcoin than this moment. And with everything that's taking place with the Russia and Ukraine situation, the need for Bitcoin is getting massively highlighted. This is the Russian ruble, ladies and gentlemen. People in times like this often forget that there's two sides that are going to be losing out here. You know, the citizens of Russia, and of course, we know it's terrible what's happening in the Ukraine. This is the Russian ruble in terms of a currency. So how many of those citizens within the country do you think decided to that this would be a good move, what their government has decided to do? Probably not a very high amount, yet they're all being penalized. We're seeing queues for ATMs going literally around the block. You know, the highlight and the need for Bitcoin just becomes stronger and stronger. We need a system that is outside the control of governments and that isn't as tethered to them as the fiat systems around the world are, because they can manipulate them. The citizens largely get penalized from the right or wrong actions of the governments that are in control of those currencies. Bitcoin solves a lot of those problems. I still love Bitcoin, even though I think altcoins will outperform. And in terms of value, there is the argument that if these smart contract platforms actually do get integrated into the world, they're going to capture more value than the likes of Bitcoin. But there is, of course, the argument for Bitcoin being a great store of value, which it's proven itself to be today. So we can see Bitcoin's in this kind of no man's land. It's trading sort of sideways, has been for a year in a period of kind of consolidation. Ultimately, I am expecting continuation. I think the fundamentals are really going to drive this, as they've never been so strong. If we look at Bitcoin against the ruble, we always look at Bitcoin against the US dollar. If we look at it against the ruble, you can see the chart looks drastically different. And we saw a huge spike up today as we see people flooding into Bitcoin looking for lifeboats. Also, the Turkish lira, you can see just how different these charts. I'll see if I can put a normal Bitcoin chart down below. Yeah, so we've got the Bitcoin dollar chart here. Not sure which chart it is I'm using. And then we've got the ruble. And you can see, you know, just because we're sort of looking at the dollar, there's plenty of different stories out there. You can see just how different, you know, you can see you're still not below your high of April in regards to the lira. And that's because their currency has been massively inflated. Bitcoin often hedges all of that, and it even hedges the dollar and its devaluation. So the need for it has never been so strong. This is some of the comments from the Bank of America. An analyst of cryptocurrency flows between personal and exchange-based wallets shows a lack of directional conviction, which is what we've been saying. Risk-off period, people aren't looking to rush into markets. They'd rather wait and see what happens. In the market, Bank of America said in the note entitled Digital Asset Inflow, tightening by the US Federal Reserve and macroeconomic headwinds are likely to limit upside for cryptocurrencies over the next 6 months. This won't, however, be a crypto winter given the level of user adoption and growth in development activities. Analysts led by, I'm not going to try and butcher that name, Alec Shah, wrote in the notes on Friday. Bitcoin exchange outflows suggest that dip buying is muted, while exchange flows for Ether show the potential for continued price headwind, the bank said. The top 3 stablecoins saw exchange inflows slow significantly for the 2nd week in a row. The report said last week exchange inflows reached $517,000, down 99% week on week, indicators that investors may be biding their time in the current macroeconomic environment, the bank analyst said. It will be difficult for the crypto market to break out of the recent trading range until concerns about a potential recession are discounted, according to the banks. So this really highlights, this from the Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the world, exactly what's going on right now. Uncertainty, people will not take the risk. Certainly your big institutions and investors will sit this out. Certainly they won't be in something like crypto during these time periods where you've got the kind of volatility that we've seen. And people often forget, one reason people think this is a bear market is because essentially how volatile it's been. You know, it's quite a significant sell-off. But what people often do forget is that this is crypto. Volatility comes with it. Period. You know, people go, oh, we're in a bear market here, with the same people. And guys, we were making videos at the time saying that down here we weren't in a bear market and we were correct, just like I think we're going to be correct now. Doesn't mean I can't be wrong. But people down here at the bottom, July, were telling you to sell, telling you that the bear market was in and that it was over and crypto winter has begun, only for us to then go on and make a new all-time high. So, you know, there's not been a confirmation. Nothing's been confirmed yet. Could this be the precursor? Could we see real economic fallout as a result of this? We absolutely could. But there's a flip side to this. What we're seeing in the Russia and Ukraine situation is really highlighting the need for a currency that exists outside of the realms of the government. Non-zero. It was lovely on Mars. I love this saying. The government are the only people capable of taking a perfectly valuable commodity, such as paper, and making it worthless. It's only them that have the ability to do that. Non-zero BTC addresses hit an all-time high of 40 million. The supply-side dynamic of Bitcoin network continues to demonstrate strong adoption, as there are now more addresses with a positive Bitcoin balance than ever before. And you can see this is the on-chain analytics from Glassnode. We won't click that up. Also, just reminding people of what's taking place there. This is the internet. This is the kind of adoption wave or the adoption path that it took. And this, of course, is crypto in the dotted line, the purple dotted line. And you can see just how early we are. There's a lot of value to get swept up into everything. So the FTSE close, have a bit of a brutal day today. Like I say, markets are in indecision. Typical markets, people are holding over the weekend and they're just kind of itching to sell as things unfold because they can't, of course, sell on the weekend. They'll hit Monday running. Lots of pressures. You know, I always get asked, well, you know, if we're seeing all this adoption, if we've got all these hodlers, why does the price go down? You've got to understand how markets work and that markets are essentially driven on demand to the up and down side. So if there's more people entering the market than there are exiting, the price will go up and vice versa. You need to understand that because, yes, the fundamentals can be bullish, but if the markets aren't, the markets aren't. Markets are different. It's like that clip we played of Jeff Bezos talking about how in the dot-com boom, the price just simply didn't reflect anything other than markets, had no reflection on Amazon, and that value potentially gets realized. So this is the ruble. Sad day for what's taking place over there. My hearts are you know, out to both people on both sides. You people need to separate the government from the people because it amazes me how brave everybody becomes on Twitter, on social media, when they can't even deal with somebody saying something not very nice to them over the internet. It's not the game that I sort of play. So this is the dollar. Dollar saw a spike up today as it naturally would. Dollar milkshake theory is an interesting one for anyone interested in that. It's the kind of theory that all of the currencies sort of start to fail and people run to the dollar, which causes a kind of milkshake effect where the dollar goes up massively in opposition with all these other currencies. I don't think that theory really equated for Bitcoin, which could be a viable alternative that isn't tethered to many of the country's sort of enemies or opposition, which is a really interesting. So oil's one that people are watching massively at the moment. If the price of oil goes on, typically this is if the price of oil typically goes over $100 a barrel, typically this causes a downturn in the economy because oil is used in plastics, you know, motoring industry, everything. So this is something to watch. How many of you guys know that Russia is one of the biggest producers of oil? We're hitting them with sanctions. They've not tried the gas sanctions just yet. But this could be something that comes, and then this is going to cause an already potentially supply crunched industry to become even more of that. And what effect does that have? Do we see gas prices shoot through the roof? I certainly noticed when the kind of Russia-Ukraine actual event took place, people were rushing to the gas stations, or the petrol stations in the UK, which is crazy to me. This is the central bank of Russia, braces for turmoil with non-residential trading ban. So they're going to have to do something. They're going to bring in restrictions, in my opinion, sort of capital restrictions to try and limit the damage. But right now, this is what the West's trying to do. They're trying to cripple the Russian economy, and they're succeeding thus far. So that's really all I have for you. Just a general update. Lots going on. Ultimately, you guys know that I am a perma bull on the crypto space. For this reason right here, guys, we're very early in terms of adoption. There's going to be ups and downs within that, but over the long-term time horizon, those ups and downs get quietened and don't look so volatile. But volatility is a part of any emerging market, especially one as small as ours. And when you throw geopolitical macroeconomic events into the mix, it creates a situation like we currently have now. But that is all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.